Hey everyone, Marissa McNamara here from the Plick team at BT Bosies. In this video, I am going to give you a brief overview and an introduction to your Chromebook. Now, once you have logged into your Chromebook with your school district login credentials, you will be on your home page. So you have your desktop, you have your shelf down here, and the biggest difference really between a Chromebook and a regular laptop or a desktop computer, or one of the biggest differences, is that this page here, your desktop, is really going to stay nice and clean. You cannot save files directly to this desktop space. So in your Chromebook, when you first log in, a little tour of your shelf down here. So you can, if you right click, or on a Chromebook, if you do not have a mouse attached to it, to right click, you just use 2 fingers at the same time and you just gently tap the trackpad. That counts as a right click on your Chromebook. So you're going to right click or 2-finger tap and you'll get this little menu. So you can change the position of the shelf. I like it on the bottom, but if you've noticed kids perhaps in your class have changed it to either the left or the right orientation, or if that's your preference as well, you can go ahead and do that. Let's put it back to the bottom. You can also auto hide the shelf, so that means that when you are doing some things, it'll float away and then you won't have that toolbar down there, and then it'll come back, or you can always show the shelf. We're going to talk about just changing our background, something very simple, but customizing our wallpaper. So in this main kind of desktop space, if you do a 2-finger tap or a right click on a mouse, is where you also get that auto hide shelf option along with the shelf position. But we're going to click on set wallpaper. And so it has a bunch of categories and image types that you can select that you can go through by category. So some of these, that first tile will be this daily refresh. When that's toggled on, that just means it will refresh each day with a new picture. For your My Images, it really saves any screenshots that you've taken. So I don't know why you would want those as a background. But if you downloaded any photos onto your Chromebook and put them in your files on your Chromebook, that is where those images would be for you to set your own personal picture on your Chromebook. So over here is this is how you get to your settings and your main menu. It's letting me know that I have an alert to update to the newest version of the OS. So if you see this, and your students will see this, what's great about Chrome and Chromebooks in general is that they're constantly updating, but the only way that the updates are going to happen is if you are regularly restarting or powering down your Chromebook. Just closing the screen or locking it is not the same as doing a complete shutdown and then restart. So I will restart my Chromebook later, but we'll just have to deal with that notification. But if you had any other notifications about downloads or any other alerts for your computer, they would show up here. You can also see that I have this menu for some quick access to some tools. I can easily sign out, shut down, lock, and then here are my settings. We'll get to the settings in a second. I have a quick access to my Wi-Fi. When I click on it, this is how I can add another Wi-Fi network. And I can see which networks are available to me at the moment. My Bluetooth, I can toggle it on or off, update my notifications. We have our screen capturing tool and nightlight. And then I can also from here adjust the volume or the brightness of my screen, and I can see the date and how much battery life I have left. If I don't want this large window, I can also minimize it so that it shows up as a tinier window. Also expand it as well. Now let's get into the settings because there's a bunch of settings that we can control. So by clicking on that, it opens up this window, and from here you have your your basic settings. Some of them are things that are on that quick access menu that we just went through. So I invite you to take some time just to see the different settings that you can have. But what I would suggest is that in this advanced, this is where if your language accidentally gets changed, you can reset it. Setting up printers if you want to set up a printer at your home. Down here, so once you click on advanced and you scroll all the way down, there's this feature called accessibility. And so right now I don't have it on my quick access menu, but by turning that on, it will now, if I exit out of my settings and I open that menu back up, you now see that I have another tile here. So that is accessibility. Here, I'm not going to go into each accessibility. That will be another video. But you can see that there are a whole bunch of built-in accessibility tools for you and your students if they need any, or if you need any of these tools to make your experience on the Chromebook easier. And it's nice because they're built in. You can quickly toggle them on and off, and that is in the advanced settings. But by turning that on, that they're always available in the startup menu, now I have that here so I can easily adjust them when needed. Also going back to the settings, over here we can kind of quickly go to a specific section of our settings. And so if I go to device, now our screens are smaller on the Chromebooks because they are so nice and light to carry around. So if I go to device and I actually go to displays and I open up the display settings, it defaults on your Chromebook to this display size, and it defaults to this 100%, and you can see that it's on that smaller end. But if you adjust it, it then makes it a little bit easier to read and to see, and then that does it across the entire Chromebook on all of the things that you are opening up. It will automatically adjust to that size that it's more comfortable for you to read. Moving away from the settings now, we are going to talk a little bit about customizing that shelf. So you'll see down here that you have some quick access links. Some of them are pushed out, so like My Apps should be there and is pushed out by our IT department, and students should have that there too, so that's easy for you to open up My Apps and navigate to the things that you normally would through My Apps. But you may have noticed that there are some quick access links like YouTube, or even down here, when you hover over it, it's Gmail. So if you've noticed before when you click on that, if you're thinking, oh, it's my email preloaded down there, this is why you get this error message, because our email accounts are through Outlook and we do not have access to Gmail. So really kind of a useless pin down at the bottom of our shelf. So a way to kind of clean it up would be to right click again, or remember that 2-finger tap, and you're going to just unpin that from your shelf. And I'm going to do the same thing with YouTube. So you can go ahead and unpin things there that you don't find useful or convenient based on your own personal needs. Now, you can pin certain apps down to that shelf. To get to all of your apps, you're actually going to go to this little circle in the corner. It is called the launcher. So you can click on that and open up that window, or if you actually on your keyboard, it should be right next to or pretty close to the A key on your keyboard. It looks like a little magnifying glass. Clicking that also pulls up this launcher window. You'll see that it shows some of your most frequently used or recently opened apps down here. You can do a quick search by typing in the app name if you know exactly what you're looking for. But if you click on that arrow, it will bring up all of the apps that are downloaded onto your device. And so from here, you can pin something to your shelf. And so if I wanted to pin Google Drive for quick access, because I open that up as soon as I turn on my computer, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to right click or 2-finger tap, and I'm just simply going to click pin to shelf. And so now there is a nice little icon. You do the same thing for Google Classroom. Click on pin to shelf, and then there's a nice little icon right there for me. This is also a great idea or strategy for your students to kind of show them how they can remove some of those apps that they don't need down at the bottom, and then kind of walking them through the steps or asking them to pin Google Classroom or some of those frequently used apps onto their shelf, just to streamline and just to help them make it easier for them to find those apps that they're going to be using quite frequently. While we're talking about the launcher and looking at all of our apps, I do want to point out one of our apps is called Files. So very similar to when you open up your files on a desktop or laptop computer. So you have some categories here of recents and then filtering through audio, images, video. But you can also access your drive from this file window as well. So if you need to pull something quickly from there and you know right where it is in your drive, you can do that. Or if you have to move a file over, you record a video or you have a screenshot or something and it doesn't go automatically to your drive, you can also pull those files and manage them from your My Files window. All right, this ends our introductory tour of our Chromebook. As always, if you have questions, you can reach out to me.